What is there to do around Hiroshima, and is it for you? Today we're going to look at 4 different side trips you can easily do from Hiroshima and what kind of traveler they each suit. To get your bearings, here's the side trip you probably already know, the floating torii of Miyajima. But our first side trip for the history buffs is just a little bit further out in Iwakuni. Trip number 2 is for the adventurer in the forests of Sandankyo. Number 3 for the culture lovers, a day at the beautiful Simose Art Museum. And 4 is for the foodies, the atmospheric sake town of Saijo. Even if you don't really like sake, I really recommend this town because I instantly fell in love with it. Each of these trips take about an hour to reach from Hiroshima Center, with 3 of them easily connected to Hiroshima Station by JR trains and Sandankyo by a bus. And we're starting with the historic spot of Iwakuni, so it's over to you, History Buff Cassandra.
Thank you, Cassandra. Behind me, you can see the iconic Kintaikyo Bridge. The bridge design dates back to the 1600s, when the clan lord of Iwakuni wanted to connect the castle town to the castle and residence, but it kept getting swept away by floods.
Inspired by an illustration of a 6-arched bridge in China, the clan lord ordered a bridge with 4 pillars connected by 5 arches to be made, with the idea that it would be flood-proof. And a year later, it was swept away by a flood. But they kept careful record of the structure, so over the years, whenever it was rebuilt or renovated, it kept its original arched shape. Is there anything else to do in the area?
Yes, there are a few local cafes and restaurants around, so I'm going to grab something at Kofudo Cafe.
Okay, anything else?
Just 1 second. Okay, and then there's the castle. We've got to get the ropeway to see it though.
Of course, when the castle was first built, there was no ropeway, which made it the perfect natural defense spot, on top of the mountain and with a natural moat of the Nishiki River. A funny fact about this castle, though, is that the modern reconstruction has far outlasted the original. The castle took 5 years to build in 1608, but was ordered to be torn down by the shogun just 7 years later. This reconstruction that we see today, however, came about in the 1960s and is still going. Whew, it was so cold up there. And the next place was actually pretty cold too, but we were doing so much exercise that I warmed up pretty quickly. And that's because this is the adventure trip.
And this is Sandankyo. These days I just love a good hike just as much as a city break. It's just good to get the blood pumping, you know? And you know those beautiful Chinese landscape paintings? This gorge got its name Sandankyo when a famous photographer visited and was reminded of those atmospheric paintings, creating the name from 2 natural Chinese landmarks.
If you like to hike, then you can basically choose how little or how long you want to hike for, as there are various walking routes, going from the 20-minute return all the way up to a proper 5-hour return hike. If you're wondering, I did the 2-hour return. That's where we got most of our footage, so that one is my recommendation if you're looking for something that's not too crazy. It's also the minimum that you need to do if you want to go on the scenic 10-minute boat ride. Not far from Miyajima, the Simose Art Museum opened just a few years ago in 2023 and houses an ever-changing collection of temporary exhibitions.
This is definitely a day for taking it slow because the Simose Art Museum has quite a spacious area to explore. A big part of what makes this museum special is the movable gallery. These colourful containers actually contain exhibition rooms and are inspired by the islands of the Seto Inland Sea.
The movable galleries and reflective glass concept were designed by one of Japan's most famous architects, Ban Shigeru. He also found inspiration from the museum's collection of Emile Gaillet pieces to create the atmospheric movable galleries and garden to the north. I will admit that our winter visit doesn't give the most colourful impression of the garden, but it was beautiful nonetheless, and they have different flowers and trees that bloom throughout the year, and there is even a restaurant nearby facing the sparkling sea. And because it's me and I love food culture, I can't resist introducing you to the sake town of Saijo. I visited before for our Hiroshima island hopping video, and it was one of the most memorable towns I visited this year. Just look at it, I love the way all the buildings look. I'll be honest, I'm actually not much of a sake expert myself, but sake is such an important part of Japanese food culture that it's great to learn a bit about it while exploring a cute town. Last time I visited Kamotsuru and its mini museum, so this time I decided to try out Fukubijin Shuzo.
I'm so happy I get to drink alcohol for work. Let's give this a taste. Oh my gosh, that one is very, very sweet. That is the Himeama. Definitely good for if it's your first time drinking sake and you like sweeter ones. But wait, let me try this one. This is the Shizuku. Okay, that's definitely a lot drier than this one, but still like overall a very sweet sake. It kind of has like a fruity finish, I would say. So if you don't like super sweet alcohol, but it's your first time with sake, then maybe the Shizuku. And if you like sweet sake, you like sweet alcohol, and it's your first time drinking sake, then whatever this one was, the Himeama.
And this area is known as a sake brewery street because of its concentration of 7 main breweries still going strong today. As you walk around, you'll notice the white walls, red tiled roofs, and giant chimneys. These are markers of the breweries themselves.
Even if you don't like drinking straight sake, then there are a bunch of restaurants and shops where you can try sake in food instead. Let's see what sake snacks we can find in here. Itadakimasu. That's nice. It doesn't really taste like sake. It's just like a nice sweet treat. This one is like a red bean, but this one that I just had was a cannellini bean. This one tastes much more sake-ish. I think it's because probably this outside is made with sake lees.
Take me back to those sake snacks. So we had Iwakuni for the history buffs, we had Sandankyo for the adventurers, Simose Art Museum for the culture lovers, and Saijo for the foodies. Which one would you choose? I think if I had to choose just one, I would be pretty torn between Sandankyo and Saijo. But share your thoughts in the comments and happy travels!